Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Secure the Grad, and this is our careers webinar. We're speaking today choices, as well as our careers, but also how do we change. My name is Evodia Muhanyane, and I will be your host for today's webinar. Now, thank you for making time to join us. We know that whether you're joining from your cell phone, you're joining right from the computer lab, or even the comfort of your room, or some of you at your office desk while you're having lunch, you are in the right place at the right time. And thank you for trusting us to hold space with you this lunch afternoon. Now, we know student life is busy, but also professional life is much busier. Now, it's not just full of anything or busy with anything. We know that it's full of choices. It's busy with uncertainties, but also all the things you have to get to, those deadlines, those to-do lists. And sometimes our careers tend to take a backseat in terms of how to navigate. And we put that decision often right last to the last second. But don't worry if that's you. Those uncertainties are warranted. We see you in today's webinar. Listen, if you are joining us from the Kwakwa campus, Bloemfontein campus, South campus, wherever you are in the country, let us know in the chats where you're joining us from. In order to make sure our webinar is as effective as it can be, we're asking you to please make sure that your microphone and your camera are disabled. Our technical team will also ensure that it's disabled on your behalf. Please also join using your name and surname. Alternatively, if you're a UFS student, use your student number. That way you become eligible to win some of our amazing prizes that we have ready at the end of the webinar. To make it more interesting and to make sure that we invite your voice into this webinar, please participate in our polls. You'll see that it will pop up on your screen. We will ask you a question, give you a couple of options. Click the options that best represents your answer. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have some of the most impressive industry leaders, people who have really created and held up space in their respective jobs, in their industries, as well as their careers. And they are here to tell you the truth about their stories, how they faced uncertainties, but also how they have pivoted and find it victorious. Ladies and gents, as you can see on our screen, these are the fire-filled speakers for today. Some of them are UFS alumnus, some of them really tackling some big projects in our country, also things that are highly impactful, some entrepreneurs, and also some researchers with us today. You will get to meet them soon. Ladies and gents, remember also in the chat, we do invite you to engage with us throughout. I've not seen how you feel today, so I've not seen those fire emojis come in, are you feeling like the Bloemfontein weather today? A bit cold, a bit confused, but also not wanting to participate with us. So I do invite you, show me some love in the chats, show me some hearts, show me some fire, anything to get our webinar going. Now, let us hear from you before we hear from our speakers. We want to hear, where are you in terms of your career choices? Have you thought about it? Are you feeling stuck? Are you feeling frustrated? Or you know what, you're just here for vibes and you just don't want to answer questions? Let us know. I see my poll is not clear. I'll ask the technical team to sort that out. In the meantime, make sure, there we go. Mine is on now. How are you feeling about your future career path right now? Are you clear and confident? Are you unsure about exploring? Are you totally lost? Don't worry, there's more of you in the room, or you are just here for vibes. Please make sure that you click the answer that best represents how you're feeling right now and click on the submit button. We'd like to hear from you. There we go. They're slowly coming in. I'm only seeing about 11 responses. Where are your voices at? If you're a woman, it's Women's Month. Let's hear your voice. Be loud and be heard. Now, we are going to welcome our guests. I'm going to ask that all our special guests that they switch on their cameras so that the rest of you can see them. I'm looking forward to today's conversation. I'm just going to ask that our technical team please stop sharing from their end so that we can see all our guest speakers. There we go. Ladies and gents, what you are seeing right in front of you are some of the best of the best in our countries. As you know, Secure the Grad style, we don't do, okay, let me hold it a bit. We don't do spaza shop style, ladies and gentlemen. When we go all in. So today we've got with us Dr. Dineo, Masabata Nobesuthu Raisa, as well as Retabile. So we're going to kick off with Dr. Kobedi. I cannot see her right now. Okay, if I can't see her, we're going to move on to Masabata. There, where is she? I can't see your camera.
Really? Maybe
There
I used the
we
wrong.
go. Now I can see you. Dino, welcome with us. I am super excited to have you on the platform. Now, I'd like you to tell us a little bit about yourself. What does your role entail? I know some of the followers who are following us on IG might have read your bio, but for those who are not there, tell us a bit about yourself, what your role entails, and give us a picture what it is like to be in your shoes on a typical day or week.
All right. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here at Secure the Grad. Thank you, Vodia, for the invitation, and to all the panelists and the students. I'm going to learn so much from you as we're going to learn from each other. So yes, as Vodia said, my name is Dino Kobedi, and I'm currently serving as the Minister Counselor at the Embassy of the Kingdom of Lesotho in Beijing, China, which is also accredited to some South Asian countries and Southeastern Asian countries. Yeah, so about this theme, I'm just reminded about like just growing up in Lesotho, and I've always been so gravitating towards community work and volunteering. And long before I understood what career path that I wanted to take, I think I was always just very very like intertwined with my community, wanting to learn more about the people around me, and doing some charitable work. Yeah, and to be honest, I did not really like school. Honestly, I did not like school at all. I hated high school. I hated some parts of university, but towards the end, I think I started understanding, oh, this is why something that is called education. Yeah, so most of the time I was somewhere between average and struggling, especially with subjects that were heavy on numbers. And to be quite noticed, I felt, or I noticed, that the teachers, they only used to give more attention to the students that were A performers, and also those who were disrupting the class, because then they would always be reprimanding them. So it was always like the middle average student doesn't really get attention. And also I had this history of being bullied, and so that also created so much I don't know, contention with how I feel about education. And I guess in hindsight, that experience gave me empathy, and it shaped how I approach people and leadership today. So yeah, I eventually made it to the University of the Free State, which, yeah, I was very shocked because I barely made it. And in 2018, I was on the extended program. It took me a while to figure out what I needed to do. So I started with a BA program, but then I eventually went into a BCom marketing. So by the end of 2009, I saw myself in the corporate world. I had this visions of myself maybe doing something to do with marketing, maybe, having innovative consumer campaigns, just being that active person. But also I was a bit shy, so I just didn't know what to do. But I think I admired my honors program, which I started around 20, was it 20, yeah, 2012, 2013. That program helped me so much because the like Professor Dr. Ntabile Ramile and Prof. Van Art Smith, they really shaped a lot of the things and the ideas that I felt like I had from a long time ago, and I had put them under the covers, and they really helped inspire a lot. And I think it was Prof. Arnott that actually even helped me get my first job in Bloemfontein. So in 2014, I started at LA's PTY, which was in Bloemfontein at that time, a renewable energy. I was in the renewable energy division, and I studied, and I was under the corporate sales representative that time. So that experience sparked a lot of curiosity about. Yeah. So yeah, sorry, 4 minutes. Yeah, that decision opened a new world for me. Yes, and in 2018, I went to in 20 yeah, in 2016, I was in China. After my brief job, a 2-year job in Bloemfontein, I came to China to do my master's in MBA, yes, and in business administration. And then I finished that, and in 2018, I joined an organization called Africa Guangdong Business Association, which is working in intersection between trade and investment and diplomacy. So it is a government agency that was dealing with a lot of investments from Guangdong province to African countries. So I dealt with a lot of international public relation work and also diplomacy work, yes. And in 2021, I decided to pivot again, and I was enrolled for a PhD in international comparative education, focusing on policy and leadership. And just 2 months ago, in June 2025, I received my doctorate and began this current chapter at the Embassy of Lesotho in China. So yeah, looking back, I've 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 made many career choices, as you heard, and many of them cross discipline countries and roles. Because I'm originally from Lesotho, then South Africa, then China. And yeah, just my commitment to impact has always remained the same, and that is always having this empowerment, empowering the marginalized and being charitable, and also having empathy towards those people that are not really recognized always. So whether through education, diplomacy, or economic development, I'm always going to be doing that. So the second question you asked me about my daily job, what I do, sorry to rush through, but this is the second question, right? Yeah. Typically in my role as the minister counselor, I'm like deputy ambassador. So this involves like advancing Lesotho's national interests through economic diplomacy. So my work is aligned to the broader mandate of Lesotho Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Relations, which emphasizes promoting trade and attracting investment, boosting tourism, and forging partnership that contribute to national development. So yeah, each day often begins with reviewing diplomatic correspondence, preparing briefings for ambassador, or following up on engagements and activities from the Chinese government ministries, private sector stakeholders, and international organizations. And much of my work revolves around identifying opportunities for Lesotho to position itself within China. In the China-Africa cooperation framework, and also between the other African countries such as the AU here. And I also engage in strategic dialogue with Chinese companies interested in doing business in Lesotho. That means organizing meetings and preparing proposals and coordinating high-level meetings and visits, and sometimes negotiating partnerships and the terms of those partnerships as well. And so at the same time, I work closely with the ministry back home, giving them feedback on what's going on here, proposing policy recommendation, and ensuring our diplomatic efforts and are connected to Lesotho's national goals. And what I love about this role is that it combines research and relationship building and advocacy and strategic planning. And yeah, so I think it just embodies all that I've learned from like just high school till now. And I think the essence of my work is just building bridges, which is what I've always wanted to do. I always wanted to let the lowest of the people in the community to be able to get the same opportunity that I have. So if I can do it at this level, I feel like, yeah, I've already accomplished like the greatest purpose of my life. So thank you so much. I hope I didn't go over the 4 minutes, but yeah.
Of course, you went over the 4 minutes, but that's what happens if you take it from Lesotho to UFS to Asia, everybody, South Asia, everybody. You know, it's really been inspiring listening to your journey. And we will be back towards a couple of minutes from here to further get some insights into how you have really charted your path and achieved so much success. Ladies and gents, we will be moving a bit to Masabata. Masabata, if you're ready for us, unlike Dineo, please stick to the 4 minutes. Masabata, welcome with us. A little bit about yourself and what are you currently doing? You've recently graduated. And what does a typical day in your work life look like?
All right. Hi, Vodia, and hi to everybody on the call. Good afternoon to the fellow speakers. So my name is Masabata Sibusi. I'm a lady from the Free State, Kotabancho. Because I'm not missing the Free State weather. The only reason I live in Free State is because of the weather. So I'm the Free State. I'm from the Free State. I have lived. My mom wouldn't let me go up until varsity, so I went to 2S Breed. I went to HTS. I wanted to be a CASA. Got to UFS. That was my goal. CASA corner office, Red Range Rover. That was me. Okay. I even had a contract signed at the end of my third year. And then I joined an organization called Inactors. They were telling me I joined it because they said I'm going to travel internationally. It wasn't really for solving societal issues, people's challenges. I joined it because somebody said I'm going to the UK. And it was my lecturer at the time, actually. So grateful for people that connect us to opportunities and see your potential even when you don't see it. So I was really grateful for that. Mr. Frank Tebe connected me and he said, you will travel to the UK, Kari. Should I get my passport now? When am I going? you know so I joined in actors for the travels, but what I found within the program was something that completely changed my worldview, because I did accounting because I wanted to help people solve for their money issues. I wanted to get a better understanding of why people had money and why other people didn't have money. How can other people have wealth and others do not? And I thought accounting would do that for me. I didn't think you could be in business and have a job and a qualification. I prepared to pick one, and then I wanted to be an educated girly. And that's why I went for accounting. I think during my second year, we had to conceptualize a company or a project that deals with a societal issue, looking at and interrogating the national development plan within your community. I had never looked at the national development plan. I didn't even know such existed, but I did what I had to do. And that's when my first company was born. It was called Sprout Africa, and I had my business partners with me. And I'll share a little bit more about that journey later on when we chat again. So I had my first business from UFS, supported by UFS. I got to travel through the support I got from the office of the dean at the time. Got my goal. Yes, I had the company, but I also got to travel internationally and just connect with people from different universities across the globe. And then when I finished my third year, I realized I don't want to be a CASA anymore. But I do want to stay in agri. I knew nothing about agriculture. I knew nothing about worms. I knew nothing about crops, but I thought I really, really want to venture into the space. I told my mom that I want to do financial planning law and get a better understanding of that. And she was like, "You want to sell insurance? You are leaving being a chartered accountant for selling insurance." And I'm trying to explain to my mom, I'm not going to sell insurance. Financial planning law is not about insurance. And she's like, "So what is it about? Tell me, do you not sell insurance?" My sister. But I did it without her knowledge. She didn't seem to complain when I got the second qualification. So I think even on that front, I've worked at one of the biggest investment companies in East London. I had an opportunity to relocate. I think that also did really, really, it was an eye-opening experience for me. Again, the opportunity I got through a referral from a fellow GovC. So I think in my life, I've had the opportunity to meet the right people and connect with the right people. And I'm so grateful for the people I have around me. When people speak about how people are important and how it's important that you treat people well, I can affirm that it is important because those people remember you when the right opportunities come along. So if I can leave a blanket there, it would be to remember that people are important, and the respect that you give to people, how you deliver when you're required actually matters, for those referrals to come through. So yeah, and that's where my journey started. I I'm running a business now called Agrivono. It's a mixture of Swahili and English. Ukuvuna in Swahili, apparently people say it's Xhosa as well. It's to harvest. So my company means agricultural harvest. I work with female farmers. I accelerate their businesses because I believe fully in taking someone with you. I believe fully in investing in somebody else because people have done that for me. So we actually have our award ceremony tomorrow. We're going to be celebrating I think now we have accelerated 100 female farmers from across the country, and they're going to be pitching tomorrow for some really incredible prizes. So that's what I'm doing. I also do financial management and literacy masterclasses in my spare time. And lastly, I work at Inactus. So I build businesses at Inactus. And I'll jump into the second question of what my day looks like. So I wake up in the morning. I have about 50 businesses that I mentor. So I mentor 50 businesses we meet with them bi-weekly. So they'll come to me with their challenges. I take them from concept right up until to when they're expanding and scaling. I'll take people that just have ideas to people that are making almost R500,000 in revenue. And university students in the evenings, I run my business. I've made sure to create the right structures and systems. I have a great team behind me, so the business is not as dependent on me as it was in the beginning. And yeah, I think that's me.
So if you thought that it's just enough to be a student, perhaps it is. But if you want to take your journey much forward and accelerate it, we have the likes of Masabata to tell you how she has done it. Masabata, we're looking forward to continue the conversation. Next up, we've got our very own Novesutu from Career Services, the Free States Career Services. Novesutu, welcome with us. I'm not sure whether this is your first or second time with us at Secure the Grad. Are you a newbie? Are you not?
I'm definitely a newbie, Vodia, but it doesn't feel like I'm a newbie. I guess that's a good thing as well.
You are part of the tribe, so welcome.
Absolutely.
Sutu, exciting to have you. Very privileged to have you with us at #Secure the Grad. You tell us also what you do, what are you about, and what does a typical day at Career Services in your role look like?
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much for this platform, and definitely the opportunity to engage with other speakers. And the most important people in this conversation, of course, the students. So my name is Nobesutu Sondi, but most people call me Sutu, and everyone is welcome to call me as such. And I'm a senior student relations officer within Career Services. I also do career advising in Career Services. So I hold an honors degree in psychology and also a master's degree in education research, which I proudly obtained cum laude in 2022. And that's a very proud moment for me because I literally had a baby on my back and all sorts of odds against me, but I marched on and I bulldozed that qualification with a cum laude. I have over 13 years of experience in training and development. I'm very passionate about, helping students uncover their true potential. So that's my passion point. And I'm also very driven by education. I still believe that, education really is a sustainable gateway to success. At every opportunity I get, I do like to engage in educational activities with students and even the broader community. So my role as a student relations officer is really to support UFS students to navigate through their career journeys from classroom right through up until they enter the world of work. It's a busy season for us. As you know, Uvodia, we're preparing for the Kwakwa Career Bench, and I hope all the Kwakwa students on this platform are going to be visible in our events because they're all for you, okay? They're all there to shape you and get you better prepared for the world of work. So apart then from doing the coordination, the events coordination, my week typically involves sitting down with the student and trying to coach them on how they can do job searches, advise them on which careers are most appropriate based on the skills that they have acquired, based on their interests, based on their work experience. So those one-on-one sessions are also one of my favorites. I also do a lot of facilitation. So some of the students might have spotted me in class. Where I present our work readiness content. If not in class, then I do some presentations over career weeks. And in Kwakwa specifically, we will be doing a very short segment within the career day, which is a new thing. But the bigger bulk of my work really is strategic planning and reporting. So we sit in meetings with Uvodia and other colleagues to really discuss how we can assess impact and how we can track engagement and ensure that we are continuously aligned to the institutional goals. And that takes up quite a lot of time, but it is, a very important step or function within my role. So my role is quite dynamic in that it requires for me to be quite adaptable. The 1 minute in a meeting, the other minute I need to take off my heels and put on my all stars and go and engage with students. The 1 minute I'm calling potential employers to come and give more insights to our students. It's quite a very colorful role that keeps me very busy and constantly on my toes. And I kid you not, no 2 days are the same, but I wouldn't have it any other way. If I'm not at work, if I'm not, running around like a headless chicken, I enjoy taking very long drives with my family and my husband. My family, I mean, with the kids, but sometimes I do just enjoy that, moment with just my husband. And just last week, we were actually at Clarence, enjoying the beautiful views of Clarence, but the garden route still is at the top of the tier when it comes to those long drives. And that's a little bit about myself. I do hope to delve a little bit more as the conversation continues about the other services and how students can really position themselves for success.
Absolutely amazing. I too love the sceneries in Clarence. Have not done the garden route in a while. I'm
You must.
certainly going to look into that. Sutu, we also get back to you in also very interested to hear how students can get support if they are registered here with the University of the Free State. Raisa, over to you. We are looking forward to get to know you. Raisa, you also very new on our platform. Welcome to Hashtag Secure the Grad. If you can tell us a little bit about yourself, you at Open Secrets. What does that mean, and what do you do?
Hi, Evodia, and hi, everyone, especially hello to the students at the University of Free State and to the other speakers. Can everybody see me?
We can see your beautiful face, and you are audible.
All right, cool. Okay, great. So I'm Raisa Pather. I currently work as a senior investigator at Open Secrets. We are a nonprofit organization based in Cape Town, and we kind of do a lot of work around corporate corruption and related human rights abuses. And my role in this, I'm an investigator, so it's my job to investigate companies and institutions that are potentially corrupt or commit certain crimes. And then we kind of write stories about this that goes out to the public, and we seek accountability for any actors that are complicit in these crimes. So I'm very fortunate to be able to work in an industry where I can contribute to some public good. It means that my job is very fulfilling, and I'm really happy to be speaking to people here and hopefully encouraging others to get into the NGO sector. So just about where I started, right? So I'm a Kapi, I'm from Cape Town. I studied at UCT. I did media and theory. And in my honors year, I think maybe this is useful to talk about, I did an internship. And that really got me excited to do more work in journalism. So I was a bookworm. And from being like an avid reader, I also realized that I wanted to write a lot. But I thought, if I became a novelist, I wouldn't make too much money in South Africa and it would be quite competitive. So that was the dream. But instead, I opted to go into journalism. And when I left varsity, there weren't many jobs in the media industry. And I remember a friend told me, why don't you contact this journalist who works at Daily Maverick and see if they have any openings? So the first thing I did was I started my own blog where I started talking to people on the streets. It was around the time that Nelson Mandela died, and I was just doing random interviews with people about his death, taking photographs, and I put all of this on my little WordPress page, very amateur, I had no experience with any of this. And then I sent my blog to a journalist at Daily Maverick who would later become one of my mentors. And for a few months, she didn't respond. And then later she was like, we're starting this media company. Do you want to join us? And I said yes. And so that was how I started at the Daily Vox. And I think many people might know us from the Fees Must Fall and Roads Must Fall days, because we were doing a lot of work. We were fresh out of campus, so it was very exciting to be around student activism and to see how institutions were changing and how student movements were unraveling. So I was very that was basically the start of my career, and it was a very exciting time. I eventually left the Daily Vox maybe 2 years after I started, and I got a job offer to move to Joburg and to work for the Mail and Guardian. So I became a journalist for the Mail and Guardian. It was a great experience. I took what I'd learned doing grasswork activism coverage and news, and essentially I then built like a political profile and started covering elections and, kind of like shaking hands with senior politicians and also uncovering corruption there. So it was quite a big trajectory. And I also still got to cover like important stories around housing, gender-based violence, all these things that still are very close to my heart. And then, again, we started to see challenges in the journalism industry. And so I decided, okay, cool. I left the M&G. I started to freelance, and then this opportunity came. I realized I actually wanted to do a master's. So I took some time in 2019, just before COVID. I went to London and I studied a master's. I got a scholarship and I studied a master's at the London School of Economics. Again, it was very fulfilling. It was a completely different experience doing a thesis and being like maybe in my late 20s to what it had been when I was doing my honors a bit younger. And I really, really enjoyed it. Maybe I'm just a nerd, but I really, really loved the experience. And I was very passionate about my project. And so, yeah, that was exciting. And then when I came back, I took this job at Open Secrets. And again, it was kind of a pivot from being a straight up journalist to now being a combination of a journalist and an activist, and also focusing so closely on corporate corruption in the private sector when a lot of my work had been about the public sector. And so through all these iterations, I've experienced a lot of growth, but I think the most important thing is that I've still been able to maintain doing work in the public interest, which has always been the thing that I wanted to do. And then just a little bit about how my day looks. So for anybody who's interested in becoming a journalist or doing this type of work, it can lead you places. I mean, I think, if you look at people in the UN, there are a lot of investigators who investigate human rights abuses. It can take you anywhere in the world. South Africa seems very small, but you're able to build connections through the work that we do. And so that's part of my work. I have to network, I have to meet people. We collaborate on different projects because a lot of the corruption that we deal with is transnational, so it's across borders. I also do a lot of time just sitting at my desk, which is sometimes very boring. But it can be great to do the research and uncover like really cool stuff. Also a lot of interviews, a lot of writing. But overall, it's a really fun job and I really love it. I love dealing with people every day, different people, different communities. And yeah, I hope I stayed under 4 minutes and I look forward to telling you a little bit more.
You are our prize winner today. Raisa, all the way from Fees Must Fall. I still remember Fees Must Fall. I think University of Free State has always been known for not necessarily having wild protests, very calm, negotiated protests. And I think Fees Must Fall was one of those that rippled across the country. And so interesting to hear that you were right in the thick of things, covering stories like that. From UCT to Fees Must Fall to London, and then circling back to Cape Town. I think very interesting journey. And I look forward to uncovering how you got there and also what are some of those challenges that we can help our audience navigate through in terms of their careers. Last but not least, Retabile Mokhatla, there we go. Retabile, welcome. It's lovely to see your face back again, in a different capacity though, and also welcome to #Secure the Grad. You tell us about yourself as well, and what does a day look like? Come on, a researcher in the Parliament of South Africa. I've never heard of that. So interested to hear also about your story. Let's get the microphone.
Got it.
There we go.
Still being stuck with the unmuting and muting. Thank you so much, Evodia. Let me first start by, sending my greetings to everyone who's on the platform, especially the UFS students. And just to also thank the Secure the Grad team for the invite and, the platform to be part of this amazing initiative. My name is Recoding. I'm an economist / researcher by profession. And so I have a great passion for doing economic research and analysis, for writing, and for just doing impactful work in general. And I think I've been very blessed throughout the trajectory of my career to be blessed with opportunities to be able to do everything that I'm passionate about. So a bit about my career journey. My career journey actually started right here at the UFS in 2015. So it's exactly 10 years ago, which is why being part of this webinar in 2025 is so special because it feels like such a full circle moment for me. I started as an intern in the office of the dean, and I was placed in the teaching and learning office of the Economic and Management Sciences faculty. And then I went on to become a teaching and learning coordinator in 2016. The same office, teaching and learning office in the EMS faculty. And that's a job that was really centered around student development and support, which reminded me of the importance of playing it forward and supporting students to help them, realize their full potential. A job that also taught me lessons that I continue to apply in my current, role and just throughout the course of my career. And also, fun fact, Evodia, our lovely moderator, was actually one of my first managers. So Evodia essentially paved the way for my career. I then got an opportunity to work at the South African Reserve Bank as a junior economist. So this was around the tail end of 2017. And this is an opportunity that gave me access to rooms that I never imagined I'd sit in. I started there as a junior economist. I then progressed to become an associate economist, and then I subsequently got another promotion to be an economist. And yeah, so it's been a very fulfilling career. Fast forward to my current role, which is a researcher in the Parliamentary Research Unit. I started this role in 2023, right at the beginning. I think it was in February. And just to give you a typical day or work week, it involves a lot of reading, a lot of writing, a lot of analyzing, and attending lots of meetings. But the role in itself, it entails writing detailed briefing papers in support of parliamentary committees. It also entails conducting various analysis and writing analytical reports, as well as giving presentations. I accompany parliamentary committees on oversight visits or study tours abroad to provide research support. And I also write research papers for national and international conferences and also peer review some of the papers. So I'm trying to beat everyone's time because I'm an overachiever, Evodia. So in a nutshell, that's sort of what my journey looks like, and just touch a little bit on my current role as well.
All right. I'm excited to hear from you. Laura, guys, if you want a good career, come study at the UFS. Now let's hear from you. Have you ever considered changing your career path or your degree? Your answer is that you can let us know, yes, I've already done that. I'm thinking about it. I hope you're not in your final year and thinking about it. Or no, I'm sticking to my current path, or I'm just not even sure what my path is. Don't worry if that's how you feel. You're definitely not alone. And we're here for that too. Recoding, we're going to move. I'm going to continue with you while we still have you on the platform. So I also want to speak to my fellow, I want to travel and see the world. Can you hear how you can also see the world? You can work hard, get a degree, work in places such as a South African Parliament or South African Reserve Bank, or even in Beijing and Lesotho, and travel the world. Recoding, you spoke a little bit about your studies in economics. If you can just let us a little bit in, what did you start off with and what made you choose that?
Okay, thank you, Evodia. Am I unmuted this time? Okay,
Yes, you
I'm good. Okay, thanks, Evodia. So I studied economics, and I studied right here at the UFS because I did say I'm an alumna. And it's actually a study choice that caught a lot of my family and my friends off guard. And the reason I say that is because the high school that I went to did not offer economics as a subject choice. So essentially, university was my first introduction to economics. I had initially applied to study BCom accounting because my accounting marks were really good and I enjoyed it. And like Masabata said earlier, wanting to drive the range and yeah, just having that title as well. So I was really passionate about accounting, but I then had a conversation right at the beginning during orientation and all of that, like when we're still new to the varsity. I had a conversation with an academic advisor about my interests, my hobbies, and just life in general. And then from that interaction, economics ended up being my chosen field of study. And it's a choice that I am so grateful I made. And yeah, I'm forever grateful for the guidance that I received then because here I am today. So yeah, that's essentially how I ended up studying economics.
So you are one of the lucky ones that your study choices aligned with your career. And you were able, there was a bit of a detour into teaching and learning and then right back into economics. Would you say that you're working a little bit in teaching and learning while doing your master's, whether that gave you some form of an edge in terms of your career when you look back?
Yes, Evodia. So yes, after completing the honors degree, I got that internship in the office of the dean, and that was actually the first year of masters. So it was like the coursework. And I must be very candid though and say that there's no one who can prepare you for the challenges that come with balancing your studies and work on top of all the demands from your personal life. So it's absolutely doable, yes. However, it requires a very high level of dedication, prioritization, passion, especially for the studies when the morale is low. And then in terms of, all like working, giving me sort of like an advantage in my career, I think absolutely without a doubt, one of the greatest lessons I learned from working as an intern and as a teaching and learning coordinator is that I learned to believe in myself and to trust in my abilities, and that is my superpower, and that alone can land me in rooms that I never thought that I would sit in. So while I was studying my master's and working as a teaching and learning coordinator, I was chosen as one of the top 100 postgraduate students across the country to attend an inaugural public economics winter school. So they flew us up to Pretoria, where for an entire week we got to network and learn, from prominent figures such as ministers of finance, South African Reserve Bank governor and the deputy governors, the auditor general, and just renowned economists. So yeah, even in if in its second year running the winter school, I was once again chosen to be part of that initiative, which was a great opportunity for me, to interact with industry specialists and industry peers as well. So I think the different jobs that I had, one, they taught me discipline, they taught me to believe in myself, and yeah, all the lessons that I learned from there definitely gave me some sort of added advantage, although it was a challenge balancing the studies at some point.
You look at you, you finished, and clearly that discipline did pay off. Before we let you go in this segment, you sound like things were really going well. You get into the Reserve Bank as a junior economist. Months later, you're an associate economist, and then bam, you are a fully fledged economist. Why would one decide to let that go?
Very good question. But let me first preface my response by saying that I always ensure that I immerse myself fully in any role that I occupy, and I make sure that the work that I do leaves a lasting impact and it adds value. So that if or when that, call for change, which is an alignment with, of course, my goals and my growth, when that opportunity knocks, then I'm not afraid to answer because I know that I will have given the role that I'm in my best. because I believe that, in life we always students, we're forever learning, we're evolving, and with that comes the ambition to want to grow and explore one's full potential. So when I changed careers, firstly from being a TLC and had an opportunity to, put my qualifications into practice by becoming a junior economist at the Reserve Bank, I fully embraced that opportunity because that was that chance that I had to be the economist, which was always my plan A. And I knew that my teaching and learning role, I gave it my best, and I feel like I learned and I also imparted a lot of knowledge in that regard. So yeah, I joined the Reserve Bank, and like you're saying, I grew. My career growth at the Reserve Bank was phenomenal because I took advantage of that opportunity. And I just made sure that I excel in all ways possible. So I think that's a very important lesson as well, to know that when you are given an opportunity, grab it with both hands, and just, remind the people who gave you the opportunity why they gave you the opportunity. What I also learned is that in my career, and I think this is also applicable across different disciplines, is that the foundation is the same, for example, in economics. However, the careers are multifaceted, and you don't have to confine yourself to a specific role or be rigid in your thinking about, what an economist should be. You need to be able to adapt to evolving industries and your personal goals, which is what sort of informed me to sort of then change from becoming this economist at the South African Reserve Bank, where I was working with a lot of, data analysis and writing economic analysis, to now pursuing more of my other passion, which is conducting research and writing, papers. So that's essentially, what informed the changes, despite things going well. You don't always have to leave when things are bad. Sometimes it's just time to move because you've given your role your all and you've got an opportunity to do even greater things.
And sometimes it is just that time. I love that. Absolutely love that. And I think a personal nugget for me, you give it your absolute all and you don't have to leave when it's bad. I think generally when you read in the media, you're on social media, everybody's just talking about how toxic work is. And I love this very positive spin on the fact that I don't have to leave because of toxicity. I can always leave just because it's good. I've been disciplined and it's time to move on.
Absolutely.
One question I will park, but I'd like you to think about for now is the advice that you would give our audience, whether they current undergraduate students in their final year or they postgrad or even early career people thinking, rethinking their career choices. How does one best prepare for that career change, for, moving into that next season? We're going to park it and get back to you.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Now, I'm going to ask that we move to Raisa. Raisa, you have had an interesting journey. I have seen in the chat someone saying, I'd like to hear from someone that studied in the humanities. We have them right here for you. You started off your journey with media and a bit of writing. So talk to us a little bit about that in terms of, was that the perfect match if you look at your career and what you're doing right now?
Yeah, it's super interesting. So in my undergrad, I did media and theory at UCT and English literature, which seems like an odd combo because I think like when I took English literature, my family were like, what are you going to do with this? Like, where is it going to get you? Which I think almost every BA kid goes through, like, right? I think media and theory was also interesting because, I mean, at Rhodes, for example, they offer a journalism course, which is very practical, whereas the course that I did at UCT was mainly focused around theorizing the media, analyzing it, criticizing it, unpacking what the media is doing, the ideologies that drive it, etc. So it wasn't really about being a media worker, but rather trying to understand how the media works and its impact on society. But nonetheless, it was still a really helpful course because in my honors year, I was able to do an internship at a small magazine. And I think that was really helpful because it gave me an idea of the day-to-day job of being a journalist. And I think even just being able to when you do a humanities degree, you're taught to think critically. You're taught to go a level deeper, to read with comprehension and to like really unpack what is happening here, and to not just accept things the way that they are. And I think it's been profound for me to be in the industry and to have that kind of awareness about how we impact society as a whole, our responsibility to people, and yeah, the work that we have to do to be better. So I think that my time really did help that. I mean, even when I did my master's, it wasn't necessarily around media directly, but I was still able to take what I had learned and become a journalist. Because really, like the job is so practical that if you can show that you can write or that you can interview people, I think automatically employers will be attracted to you and will want to work with you. So I was very fortunate in that way. And yeah, I think the confidence also to go out and just talk to people, to write things up. I mean, I think a lot of us kind of get caught up in our heads like, oh, is it good enough? And sometimes we don't even start things because we're like, I don't know what I'm doing. But for me, I think the most profound lesson was to just go out and do it, like to start the website, start the blog, put stuff up, show it to editors and other media workers. And it seemed to work. And I think if it would work for me, it would work for many other people too. So yeah, even though it wasn't a perfect match, it seemed to work well.
A bit of a twist in the questions, perhaps. Was there a time that you were perhaps a bit uncertain whether this will get you, the type of lifestyle you want? Because often many of us think, this degree, what job am I going to do? As they said in the chats, or as one of our speakers said, I wanted the Range Rover. And sometimes we do think, is this going to give me the life I want, the life that's different from my parents? Did you ever sit with any of these doubts? And how did that change or impact your career choices?
Yeah, so I mean, I always knew that I wasn't going to be like a partner in a law firm, like I'm not going to have equity in a company, right? Like that's not going to that wasn't going to be my path. And I knew the sacrifices that came with that, because to do public sector work, or work that involves more of the public sector, like you have to take that kind of knock and be prepared to live with it. The irony it is, though, is that even though people talk about working in NGOs and stuff as if, we're not making as much money as other people, like we can still live a comfortable life. And it's also particularly important to put that into context with the people who have very little in the country, like, kids who don't have the opportunity to study, to do further education, people who have to drop out because they have to take care of their families. Like that is still very much a reality in this country. And it drives me to do the work that I do because, I think at a very young age, I became aware of inequality. And it's a very profound thing to deal with, like, to think, oh my God, how did my life turn out like this and this person's life turn out like that? Like, what were the things that made that happen? And the thing is, like, you can talk about apartheid, you can talk about colonialism, but at the end of the day, it doesn't even seem to really explain, like it does, that the historical legacies of those injustices definitely explain where we are, but they can't really comprehend the fact that we're still here. And so I think when we're in our jobs and stuff, we have to be mindful that, our lives are better than the majority of people in this country. I think the other thing is that, particularly in the first years of your career, people will take a knock. Like you're not going to immediately earn as much as somebody who is senior, and it's going to be very, very hard. But if you continue to better yourself, to improve yourself, and to do the work, like things do get better. You will get your promotions, you will get your raises, you will start to get noticed. And that also comes with sacrifice. I think at the beginning of my career, I was working so hard, that I never really had time to take my parents' calls. When I was in Joburg, I didn't come home as much as I wanted to. And it was hard, and now I'm at a point where I can say, my family comes first, like if there's a funeral, I'm going to go to the funeral. I'm not going to miss it for work. Like things like that. And it's been profound to see that growth. So definitely, it's worth it, I would say, for me at least. But I think every individual needs to look at their own financial circumstances and know what will work best for them. Like know your budget, know your expenses, and before you aim for the Land Rover, just try to get through the day, I guess. Yeah. Don't get yourself in debt to like do crazy things.
Absolutely love that. Raisa, you decided to also very similar to Retabile. Things were going very well with MNG. And I mean, you are covering quite interesting stories, things that are quite key and pivotal in our country. And it sounds like those were things that were very close to your heart. What was that one thing that motivated you? And when did you know that this is the time to take a redirection in my career?
Yeah, so it was really interesting. If people, I don't know how much everybody here knows about the media industry, but it's been quite tough financially. So, in fact, I would argue that in some ways the industry has become quite exploitative, in the fact that like journalists, we work all the time. Like, you know, we're working weekends, like overtime. If there's a protest happening at 5 a.m. in the morning, like we've got to get up and go there, you know? So it's a very harsh job to do. And the pay wasn't always reliable because sometimes there were media companies that wouldn't pay employees on time. There wasn't also a lot of benefits, etc., that would make it easy for us. And so even though I really loved working at the M&G, there was a time when things got really financially tough. And I think the company is still going through, you know, those financially tough times. It's happening to everyone in the media industry at the moment, and there's a lot of different reasons for it. So I left because I could see that things were becoming financially very difficult for the company. And preemptively, I didn't want to be in a situation where I felt that my job was at risk. And so I thought to myself, like, listen, I'm working really hard. You know, I'm not going to get a promotion anytime soon, probably because of the financial difficulties. We need more staff, but we can't afford more staff. Like there were all these things happening. And so that's what made me decide, like, listen, I need to pivot. Like the funding model in the media industry isn't working. So I thought maybe I could go into the NGO sector where at least, you know, there's a funding model where people have diverse funders and it seems to work a bit better. And then obviously, you know, when you do that, you also have to go to an NGO that has reliable funding. So like I'm not a financier, but I had to kind of like look at these things and decide like where could I go that would be job secure and job safe. And that's how I eventually ended up at Open Secrets. And so far, like it's been amazing. We've managed to really keep ourselves in a stable position, and hopefully that continues.
Raisa, what advice would you give to someone that is finding themselves quite uncertain or even demotivated? I mean, we have quite a number of our humanities graduates or graduates to be that really feel, what am I going to do with a humanities degree? Or in fact, early career professionals that feel things are outdated or I'm no longer finding joy in what I'm doing. What career advice would you give them in terms of whatever situation of uncertainty they're finding themselves in?
Yeah, so I think people should really kind of look. I mean, it's a very difficult position to be in, you know, to find yourself with that uncertainty and not knowing what's going to happen, particularly if you're close to like graduating and leaving university. You don't know what your next step is. So I think the one thing is to be driven in part by passion and to also know where your skills are, right? So think about what you really, really want to do and think about the skills that you've developed through your academic career and try to figure out like what is the fit that you could have. I think people always tend to look at having a humanities degree as a negative thing, but the cool thing about being a humanities student is that we're quite flexible. Like if you become a lawyer, you're going to be a lawyer. If you become an accountant, you're going to be an accountant, and it's going to be a bit more difficult to pivot. Whereas I think with the skill sets that we develop, you know, you can go into so many different areas of work. You can go into research, you can go into consulting. Like there are many different fields to look at. And I think there's also something to be said for, you know, doing the internships, doing a volunteer position for maybe a month, seeing if you like something and if you would want to apply for something like that, you know. The easiest way to find out if it's something for you is to try to experience it, you know. So go out and look for those opportunities, because also, unfortunately, the reality of where we are now is that sometimes the opportunities won't just come to you. Like you've got to go, like make sure you know who you want to talk to about something and reach out, like message people, email them. I think I can speak for all the panelists here. You know, we really like it when people talk, like want to talk to us about the job we do and how we can help them, because it's obviously, we want to give back. And there are many people like that. So don't be scared to make the calls and send the emails and just ask if there's something you can do, or if you want to understand how something works in a particular industry or job, like definitely do that.
Larissa, thank you so much for that. I think that's been very helpful. I absolutely love your story, your passion, and I do think if I'm just thinking about, people often say, do I go for money or do I go for passion? And your story really articulates beautifully for me how passion is still important in the type of things that we do. Looking forward to engaging with you again in the Q&A segment. Dr. Kubedi, it's up your turn right now. I know you also touched quite a lot on your journey during the introduction, but I want to circle a little bit around some of the choices that you have made in deciding to stay in China, particularly after your master's degree, and pursuing a career far away from home. What inspired and motivated rather that for you?
Thank you, Vodia. And I'm just so overwhelmed by the speakers, the panelists. I'm learning so much. Risa, Tabile, and the other speakers as well. Wow, I'm learning so much, and I'm thankful for that opportunity. So to be learning today. So just to answer your question briefly, when I came to China under the scholarship that was facilitated by my country, I decided early on when I got to China that I'm going to try to do many things, because I always say that maybe I don't know. I'm very curious about a lot of things. So I'm going to try to know more things when I get there. The culture shock was immense, and I had to make sure that I get adaptive quickly, adapt to the situation very quickly, like the food and the language and the people around me. So I did that, and the university was very supportive for international students. So I got to volunteer in some leadership roles in the university, whereby we had a lot of activities that the university wanted to bridge the students together. The international students, they needed to have like a body that helps them navigate through a lot of things that happens when they are there. So I was part of some of those activities. I also got into entrepreneurship activities where we had business plans that we had a panel of some business people coming, and then we pitched those. And I think I can accredit that to the entrepreneurship classes and back at UFS in Vico marketing, where I was always intrigued about innovative ideas. So I got the opportunity to do those kind of activities, and within those activities an opportunity came where I was asked by the same university to go facilitate another competition. But this time I wasn't allowed to be the one competing. I was in charge of collecting or getting all the students together to compete in the said competition, which was held in another province. So in that story, I met my employer, my future employer. She was one of the panelist judges of the competition. So mind you, I wasn't with the business plan, but I left that place with a job, because after the competition, I went to her. I'm like, wow, you were the only woman, the only woman judge here. Like they're all men and you're women. And you knew. And she was very knowledgeable in terms of African needs and what Africa. She was very in touch with what's going on in Africa, and she understood the African women and what opportunities can be there for the African women. So I was like, wait a minute, what is your story? I'd like to learn from you. And then she was like, okay, where do you stay? I'm like, oh, I stay in another province, 7-hour by fast train. So it was a very far place. So, and she was like, oh, and I was like, can I just come to your city during the summer holidays and just learn something? And then she's like, okay, I can't pay you, but I can offer you a place to stay. That was my ticket. During the summer holidays, I went to the next province, that province that she was in, Guangdong province. And then from there, I just learned everything that I could about investment and trade and everything that had to do with just giving opportunity to people and handling big projects and handling people. And she taught me so much about just PR and just being in the middle. And so I went back because I did a BA first before my become marketing, you know. So for 2 years I was doing BA modules. So when Marisa talked about humanities and that critical thinking skills that it just touches on, I was like really excited because it was from there that I felt like everything from marketing to my BA came together and bundled up to what I was doing in Guangzhou and to my job. So I think I try to answer your question. Just to set the tone about that is I just want to also add that volunteering and speaking to people, what Raisa said about how ask somebody, what do you know, ask them, so what does your job entail? You know, can I maybe shadow you for a week or month? Do you have such, you know, some people don't even have such like the ideas to do that, but when you approach them with an idea to do it, then they like think about like, okay, maybe I can have somebody shadowing me, not a problem. Okay, I can offer you a place to stay, but maybe not money. And I was like, oh, okay, I can do that. So from that place, I learned that trajectory about work and volunteering at school and activities at school, attend, secure the grad when they have a webinar, attend, even if just anything, just attended, you'll get something. Yeah. Thank you.
What do you in a global industry, or you're in a global field of work, and what advice would you, what opportunities are there for global work in the first instance, and how can students or even early career professionals that are currently joining our webinar take advantage of global positions?
Get a passport.
Yes,
Get a passport.
please.
I was like, a lot of my SA friends in the Free State, I learned that while we were still doing like my honors, most of them didn't have passports. I'm like, wait a minute. Maybe for me as a person from Lesotho, we are required to have passports with your ID. Like passport is like an ID to us. So get a passport and just keep it. And then as you look at it, you're like, okay, I'm going to use it. I'm going to use it. One day something will come up. So first of all, get a passport. Secondly, integrate. Everything is multidisciplinary at this point in our lives. Every single job, every single thing. So do not think in like a vacuum where you're thinking, okay, I'm doing a BCom economics, so I'm doing this humanity and journalism as race. Everybody has shared. Think about who you can talk to and how they can broaden with your thinking as well. So for my experience, I learned that it's not easy to stay in China. Actually, they're very strict on laws on visa, immigration and stuff. You need to be doing something. You can't be like, oh, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. So you need to be doing something. So the thing is about living abroad is I am always a foreigner. I've been a foreigner in South Africa. I've been a foreigner in China. So I think on foreigner level. So for somebody who's never been a foreigner, so if you're South African and you've never gone abroad to feel that feeling of being a foreigner, you'll never understand what is required of you. So be in a space where being a foreigner has taught me to have empathy. It has taught me to be able to seek out help and to to adapt to certain things. Like I can't always be complaining about Chinese food now. Like I can't be always complaining about the subway, the many people, the smell, this and this. No, I have to be focusing on what's in front of me, the opportunity, you know. So sometimes we are blinded by you missing what you used to know. Right now we are in a space where we have to learn something, adapt to using. So people are afraid of adapting. They're afraid of learning something like a new language. They think, oh, it's too difficult. Oh, it's too dirty. I remember even today my cousin still thinks China is so dirty, and every street here is clean. There are no, like, it's so clean. And then I'm like, but do you read the news? Do you know how China looks like today? You know. And so those perceptions about everything, about what you might think of living abroad is and having opportunities, you need to scratch them out. You need to believe that, listen, when I go to Europe, when I go to UK, and apply for a master's there. If I can go to the US, and it doesn't matter what's going on, doesn't matter about the China US trade, it doesn't matter. There's so many obstacles. The news are saying this. Just apply and then get going, and then after that try to adapt as quickly as silently, and like just make sure that you have a community, because right now I will tell you my friends are from all over the world, and that is a blessing to me, because then I get to learn about other cultures. I get to understand and have more resilience, because I understand what other people have gone through to be here where I am as well. So I don't know if I answered you.
You hit it on the nail, and I love that. Firstly, Masar Afrika Sheng, passport. You can save up for it. It is, I think, about 600 rands right now. I'm side eyeing one of my technical heads right now who needs to get a passport, and they're saying they want to just go to Lesotho. If in Bloemfontein, another country is literally an hour and 40 minutes away from you. So you can get that passport stamped. Thank you very much. But I think you're highlighting very good truths. Be adaptable. Stop missing what was and look forward to what is. We'll get back to you now in the Q&A main segment. I'm going to move over to Sutu. Sutu, we've heard from our speakers currently about the importance of taking a chance, being prepared, and making the best of the time when you're at university or even in your current job. Can you speak to us a little bit around how career services can help those who are at the UFS navigate this readiness that everybody seems to be talking to, this preparedness everybody seems to be talking to, and what events are there to support our students?
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much for that question. But before I go on to the services or the support offered by career services, I really want to touch base on how I also almost lost out on major opportunities because I felt like I was not in the space where I wanted to be at that point in time. After completing my honors, my psychology honors, the plan was to move and enter the master's program so I can qualify as a psychologist. But little did I know of the many rejections that would lie ahead. And the first one, I was rejected right after my honors, right? And the reason behind that at that point was I needed to go and test the waters. I needed to go and be in the field of work and really experience this, the space and decide afterwards if it's really something that I still want to pursue. So I did just that. I went and I found work at a psychological care center. It was a startup business. And I was hired there as an administrator. I'm actually even glorifying it now because I was just a front office receptionist, right? But you would not believe the type of ridicule I felt at that point in time. Here I was with an honors, at front desk. To make matters worse, they had this long sort of see-through doors, and everyone passing through would see me. And this was now back at home, back in Grahamstown. And everyone that passed that I knew, I would literally duck under my table because I didn't want to be seen in that position. My dad had just thrown a very big graduation party for me because here's my girl having completed her honors, and the next week she's starting her job as a receptionist.
Sure.
Right? So that for me, I believe I was not emotionally, mature enough to really appreciate that first step. That was my very first role or job. But because I throw myself in any work that I do, whether big or small, you will see my footprint. So I went in with it full force. And I don't know, maybe my stars got aligned while I was there because I was poached, because of the kind of, professionalism that I displayed, even though I hated the space. even though I kept on, hiding away from my friends who were passing and going to better jobs, I still managed to do more than what was expected in that space. And it's that showing up that I would also want to encourage our students to take in. You need to constantly show up for yourself. Whether it means attending an event, attending class, whether you want to or not, okay? Because you really don't know within that moment what births might come up. Because in that project, I was then spotted by a very lucrative, bearing somebody who was starting their own business, and they said, "I want to coach you. I see that you've got so much potential. Let's go." And so I started, the soft skills or essential skills facilitation. So to our students, and I know now it is, sure, what is it? It's August, and I've heard that students are chasing the term. They want to really save
the semester.
Save the semester. However, in you saving that semester, please also, shape yourself up for that career. And Career Services has a variety of resources available to you, free of charge, gratis, mahala, but only free of charge while you're still a student. So please take advantage. So for example, we have now the Career Hub, which houses all our work readiness programs. So if you want to really learn how to put your CV together, there's a CV writing workshop there for you. If you want to know how to start networking, which is really a very big step in this day and age, because as Raisa also mentioned, some jobs are not even posted, they're not even advertised. And so you through your engagement and networking, you might just be opening up a job opportunity for yourself. And I know that networking and job hunting is really, it's hard work. Networking is even daunting because for some people like myself who are introverts, at times it's really difficult to strike not a relationship, but a conversation with someone, especially if you don't know that person. But you need to have that skill to uncover or to unlock those opportunities. So Career Services also has, a workshop that teaches and coaches students how they can start speaking about themselves, how they can start speaking about their skills, their abilities, their competencies, even their graduate attributes. Because also what we have heard from recruiters is your students look fantastic on paper. Their CVs and LinkedIn profiles, they look really sharp. But if we are sitting in front of them, it's like we're speaking to a completely different person. So, not the articulation is not really there, the confidence is not really there. And those are just some of the few matters that Career Services can help you with. All of this, as I've said, is readily available. If you just log on Career Hub, there you will get an opportunity. If you are actively looking for a job, there you will have an opportunity to check which jobs have been recently posted. We've got career ambassadors that work around the clock to try and upload as recent job opportunities as possible. There you will be able to book an appointment for career advising, or if you want to have just a face-to-face to review your CV or your LinkedIn profile, we have that support for you. We also have the Career Development Program, which is really there to guide students who are completely confused and not really knowing what career options I can match up with my qualification. So we've got all of this support, and it's really painful for me to see right at the end of their student life, students coming in distress, anxiety on peak, because they're nearly out of the system and they don't know what to do, and they don't know what kind of resources that we've had all this time. So this is really a plea from me to you, dear students, to please make use of Career Services while you still have good opportunity, because if you do leave and you want someone else, a consultant, to review your CV or to review your professional profile, you're not going to do it for free. You're going to be charged for that service, and it's quite expensive. It's nothing less than R1,000 for a professional to review your CV, right? So we are really here to walk the journey of your career development with you, but you have to act on that. Okay, we can't always be chasing students, unfortunately. So you have to really show up and come to us, because our doors are always open to help you navigate through the uncertainties of careers.
So thank you so much. And I think you're highlighting very key things. When the opportunity finds you, let it find you ready. And who other than the career services, there are consultants, career ambassadors, Sutu herself, to help you. I saw some of the chats coming in to say, can you even help us make a CV? Yes. So those of you who don't know, on the Bloemfontein campus, right behind Motlek, that new building next to Motlek, they are there. We will also put up the link to Career Hub on the chats. Please make sure you put in your appointment. We're going to move to our student voice. Masabata, we're really excited to hear. You spoke a bit about your journey on getting, moving from BCom accounting, wanting the red Range Rover, and the amazing work that you're doing with agri farmers and female farmers as well, accelerating their businesses. Can you talk to us a little bit around, how did you decide on that, and what helped you as a student decide that, listen, I'm going to become a business owner and I'm going to help other businesses grow their ventures?
Sure. Okay, cool. So I think to start off, I'll just talk about the importance of mentorship. All right. While I was still studying, I didn't really understand the concept. But going into Enactus, maybe I'll share a little bit about my journey there. Going into Enactus, I joined, and like I said, I was focused on travel, and I'm an overachiever, so anything to travel, anything to make sure that I get the full experience. And I didn't want to be the average student, because people say, no, if you're just studying, they're going to ask you about your work experience. So what will you tell them? What will you tell your employer you've done? So I joined Enactus for the experience, for the travels, but partially also so that I would have something on my CV. And I met incredible people that were in the ICT space, right? That were running businesses in agri as well. And these were people that were former executive members. So I joined the program, and at 6 months in, I was chosen as president. So I'm very introverted. I had no leadership, project management skills at all. And like in 6 months, I had a team of 30 people looking to me for direction. And I quickly learned that I had to look to somebody else for direction. Can you still hear me? Good?
Yes.
Okay. I learned very quickly that I had to look to other people, for direction. So I started reaching out and saying, hi, I know you don't know me. I was that girl that was just smiling the whole time, pretty awkward. Listen, I need help. And it took a lot. It took a lot for me to make that move. But in hindsight, had I not made the move, I wouldn't be where I am today, because those are the same people that have put me in those rooms. So just understanding the importance of mentorship, because I think people take it for granted, and mentors don't have to be your vusies. They're incredible to be there. It's incredible that you look up to them. But Evodia is here, right? Evodia is accessible. You can follow Evodia even on social media and be like, hi, listen, you're doing well. What do I do? Is there take a girl to work day that I can join in and just get an understanding of what you do, right? Because a lot of the times as students, our mentors or people that inspire us are your Connie Fergusons. But there are people right in our alley, in the building next to us, that we feel, you can't be my mentor because you work at UFS, bro. But
I agree.
We don't know, and we don't look at the wealth of experience that you carry. So I think having appreciated that at the time, obviously not being able to really understand what it meant or what mentorship meant for me was really important. Mentorship was important in sort of guiding and highlighting where I go. But I think what also helped with my transition as a student is not being scared to take the chance.
Yeah.
Most of the time, the students, I know I was very uncertain about, my mom was threatening selling insurance, Range Rover, what's your life going to look like? I knew nothing about agri. I went from leading people, looking up to me, right into running my own business. And even then, I knew nothing about running businesses. But in the span of 1 year, I had to learn all of that. Yeah. And I had to get that information somewhere else because ChatGPT was not there. There were people. And that's why I keep emphasizing the importance of treating people well, the importance of people just generally. I feel like I'm rambling. I lost my train of thought there, and just the gospel just carried me. But I think just in essence, it was people that helped me, and not being scared to take that first step into uncertainty. Looking back now, I'm glad I made the decisions that I took the steps that I did, because I wouldn't be, an inspiration. I wouldn't be on this call had I just stayed in accounting, had I just stayed in financial planning, had I not started my own venture. But to sum it up, I think it's the people. It's the people that have carried me along.
I couldn't have echoed it better myself, Masabata. I think sometimes when we think mentors, we're thinking of people that are 50 years ahead of us, or 3 billion rands.
Elon Musk,
Elon
50
Musk.
million followers.
So you are right. Sometimes someone could be that student that's really doing well in your class. It could be that student you're always seeing on social media that has gotten a couple of brands behind their name, or even someone that's been brave enough to speak up. So mentors don't have to be far away. I want to maybe echo something again that you highlighted, because I think mentors are such an underrated component of how we often get ahead. I really want to encourage you, if you don't have a mentor, it doesn't have to be someone that knows you. Some of my mentors are people who don't even know I exist, okay? It's really looking at the books. People can mentor you from the books that they've written. People can mentor you from the podcasts that they've recorded. People can mentor you just sitting across the classroom. You're seeing them showing up during the class discussions. So your mentor doesn't always have to know you exist, but also want to encourage you, shoot your shot. So Masabata, yes,
sorry.
please.
I also wanted to add the importance of collaborating, right? And not competing with our peers. Because also at university, you want to be president alone. You want to be the top achiever alone. You want to be recognized alone. But there's so much that you can get from the next person. And I'll use myself as an example. There was a lady in my team that I was leading. I didn't like her. I felt like she was challenging me all the time. But what I didn't understand at the time, or in that season, was that she was actually stretching me and helping me. She was, asking questions that I wasn't thinking about. She was pointing out things that I was not aware of. And instead of acknowledging that there was somebody that cared enough to point out those blind spots, I became defensive. And I wanted to say, I'm a leader. And that was from a point of insecurity, because I felt like I needed to validate that I deserved this position, that I deserved to win, that I deserved to be here. And most of the time we struggle with that, pointing out the difference between when to actually, I guess, enforce and stand your ground, but also accepting that constructive criticism, taking that correction, because the person is speaking with the right heart and mind. And now, after we graduated, she works for me, and she's like, do you remember how much you hated me for asking the same questions that I ask now? So I think collaborating and working with your peers is not a bad thing. Understanding that you're not great at everything, and there are people around you that can elevate your brand, help you with your studies, make you a better leader, refer you to opportunities that aren't even sitting in an office, but are walking in the same bridge, buying food at Delhi. Is it still Delhi? Buying food at Delhi with you. Those are people, that you need to also grow. Because if we're being honest about it, we don't come across you all the time, but the students come across each other almost every day. And those are the people that challenge you. When I come to you, I at least need to know my story, right? I can't come to you with no vision, with no plan. I at least need to know that this is where I want to go. So not being scared to confront, I don't even know what to call it, that side of you that just feels threatened when other people are like, so do you actually think this business thing would work? and not saying I'm Black, I've lived my ancestors' wildest dreams, but being honest about whether or not there's market opportunity for what you actually want to do, and things like that. So I think outside of collaboration, which is extremely important, we also need to do best practice sharing amongst ourselves as peers or as students, or as people in different faculties. Yeah, I just wanted to add that as well.
Truth to power. Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to our Q&A segment a little bit later than what we had anticipated, but I think our speakers really, really came out hard today. And yeah, heartfelt conversations as we promised, and real truths and real realities about the fact that what it takes to be a winner in your career. So it is your opportunity on the chats, as well as right now you can ask your question. Remember, you can raise your virtual hand and our technical team rather, will unmute your microphone or enable your microphone, and you will have to unmute from your side. This is your opportunity to move your side and take your shot. We've got Matabelo right there already. Matabelo, what is your question? Please, we're going to just wait a second that our technical team allows your microphone, enables your microphone. You can unmute and ask your question.
Good day, everyone. I hope everyone is well. My question is rather like, I don't have a specific speaker that is like, it's aimed at, it's just like to all our speakers in general, since they're women. What made you guys, how can I put this? How did you deal with, like, in the field that you are? Since we live in a world whereby most jobs are occupied, it's male dominated. How did you overcome that? How did you like keep on pushing and not like be not allow yourself to be dismissed? Yes,
We've gotten your question. I'm going to allow for a few questions to come in and then ask our.
You're muted, Evodia.
Apologies for that. It can't believe webinar 42 and we still go on muted mics. I just want to ask our technical team also to push some questions if there are some in the chat. You also have an opportunity to still ask your question before we get our panelists to respond. Karabo, you'll be next. Silo, your microphone has been enabled. Please unmute. Okay, while we wait for Silo Karabo, Karabo Matota, yes, you can unmute your microphone.
I don't know if I'm audible.
Yes, you are. Karabo, what's your question?
Thank you so much. I just wanted to find out, especially from the lady that had an opportunity to travel international, how do you find like reliable scholarships to study like outside? Because I think as someone from South Africa, anything that says outside of the country looks like a scam to me or some, I don't know. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for that question. Silo, are you able to unmute your microphone? I can see your mic. There we go. You're audible. What's your question?
Happy Women's Month to all ladies. Thank you. Also, I wanted to ask, how can we use AI to get into the motion? I'm a second year student in PA, governance and political transformation. So I want to, how can we use AI to enhance our knowledge? Because at most times we feel like, as most of our panelists are saying, that they are introverts. So as an introvert, you usually bottle some questions into you. You don't have that courage. So how can we to ask some other questions and how it can enable us to motion into our own fields? Thank you.
Thank you, Silo. Mute. All right, there we go. I'll just quickly repeat that for our panel. So the gist of Silo's question is how they can use AI to enhance their knowledge, particularly in preparation for interviews, especially if someone is not confident or perhaps also generally do not have the vocabulary or knowledge around preparing best. I hope I captured your question well. The other question is how to find reliable scholarships, especially international opportunities that are not scams. We know there are quite a number of human trafficking scams out there. And then last question we'll take from Tobile. Tobilia, you can unmute your microphone.
Good afternoon to every person and the speakers. My question is, as much as we are being advised to go for these opportunities, my question is, when you get rejected, how can you deal with that and still try to be motivated and continue pursuing your dreams through rejections?
Thank you so much, Tobilia. Very important question. Thank you for that question. All right, so I'm going to also ask that we've got 4 questions. I'm going to ask our panelists to keep it brief and see if we have an opportunity to take a final round of questions. Our first question, so each one of you can take one or cluster the question if you feel the need to. Whichever one of our speakers wants to go first, I'll just quickly repeat the questions. 1, how to find reliable scholarships. Also actually the first question rather was, how do you deal with challenges and really get ahead in male-dominated industries? How do you find reliable scholarships? How can AI be used to enhance your preparation as well as your knowledge and skills in terms of interviews, particularly for the question was from a BA governance students. And then lastly, how do you deal with rejection and find the courage to move forward? Let's hear from our panelists today. Anyone can go for it first?
I can try. So the agriculture field is very, very male dominated. And a lot of the times when women come in, you're disregarded. People think that you should be on the farm, like you can't be running accelerator programs. What skills do you have for that? And I think what has helped me again is having the right people on my side. So yes, the system is broken, there's corruption, but having the right people by your side helps. And again, this is stemming from networks I formed while I was in university. At the UFS, I've also gotten to attend a couple of accelerator programs. So in every opportunity, I always try to come out with a network, a relationship I nurture, a stakeholder I take care of intentionally, because I don't believe we just meet people for the sake of meeting them. And these people have sort of helped me navigate, I think, the space, also letting my work speak for me, because a lot of the time we want to defend ourselves, we want to go and lash out at people, want to lash out on social media. And I found that letting your work speak for itself actually cements who you are in the space. So you work until you no longer have to talk, and your work is testament of what you do. And with the rejections, I think if you want to be in business or if you want to really be great in this earth, and I'll also let the other panelists, have their share. You have to let getting rejected be a part of life.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. There's a philosophy that I've learned that for every 100 emails you send, you'll only receive responses from 15 of those emails. And only 5 of those people will give you an opportunity to come back and talk to them. And out of the 5, only 2 will say yes. So if you want to achieve anything, you must get used to getting the no's and hoping for those 2 people that will say yes. Also, just one last thing, Ivodia, it is the process of trial and error that teaches you what not to do. So you won't know what you shouldn't do if you get it right every time you walk into the door.
Pearls of wisdom right there. As the youth say, clock it. So I see Sutu has also answered in the chat there for you. There's a link on AI tools that can help you enhance your interview skills. So and I think that was Silo. Silo, please look at the chat also. Raisa, you had an international scholarship. How does one identify those opportunities? And I see Dr. Kobedi has also put there in the chat around scholarships. How does one differentiate between scams and real opportunities?
Yeah, so I think that's a great question. There are scholarships for South Africans across the whole world. So I think the first point is to decide which university you want to go to and where do you want to study. And then from there, look at the scholarship opportunities that exist. I mean, if you want to go to the UK, I think the Commonwealth Scholarship is quite common, and the Chevening as well. There's the Mandela Roads as well. So it just depends on where you want to go. And I think Google or ChatGPT is even your friend if you want to just look at a list, and then from the list you can kind of whittle it down to what's appropriate. The one thing I would advise though is when you're applying for a scholarship, find somebody who has been awarded that scholarship and get them to read over your application, because that is the most helpful thing. They know exactly what the scholarship selectors are looking for, so they'll be able to advise you. And then I think also just on the question about being a woman in a male-dominated industry, I think it's also important to pick your battles. So to know which battles are worth fighting and to know where your work, will speak for itself, as my colleague said. So yeah, like just know, because otherwise you're going to exhaust yourself, like picking battles that just aren't worth it and that are just there created to exhaust you and put you down. Like know which battles are important to take up. Yeah.
Absolutely agree. So Raisa, you said I'm finding you. There's a scholarship I applied for and I see it's the same scholarship you got awarded. So I will be finding you after this webinar, my friend. So there's also questions. We've dealt with the questions. So also, how did you navigate moments when you didn't know what you wanted to do after graduation? And there's another question. What are 3 things I can do this week to get closer to a job or an internship? Someone did ask in the chat. It looks like all the panelists had some form of internship or graduate position. Any of our, I'm going to ask Dineo, so I'm going to ask Dineo as well as Retabile to perhaps speak also, and Sutu, if you want to jump in. We have 3 minutes left.
Okay, just for the question about yeah, so for me, what I would like to advise is that you need to follow the people that you really are closely related to what you want to do, and be curious. It could be something that Risa does, for instance, and or somebody else does, and you actually have never done that before. So first of all is dealing with yourself, the fear that you have, the imposter syndrome, like, oh, I can't do that, so actually you can, because university prepares you. Gosh, like every single thing, most of the things that I'm still doing here, I learned that diligence from studying for exams, for sitting in lectures and being consistent in lecture. I did not ask questions in class mostly. Evodia will know this because she was my classmate. But you just, that process of studying, that process of writing papers, that process of researching, your mind is you're training your mind to be able to understand, and when you start to volunteer and go into practice, that's when everything, like what Sito does, and like what she does in the agriculture space. I think, no, it's not Sito, it's everything that she said, I think she actually encapsulated what you need to do, that voluntary mentality, that mentorship mentality. You yourself looking for a mentor can mentor somebody. So if you say, oh, I need a mentor because I don't have any, I need this and this, mentor somebody first. So with that, those skills that you have, just mentor somebody and you will see that they will put you to a test. They will make you want to be better, learn a new thing, be curious about something new. So for this week, mentor somebody, find somebody to mentor, and also follow the right people, and also deal with your fear of just stepping outside the room and doing something. Deal with yourself, get a mentor, be a mentor. Thank you.
Those are very great 3 points that you can do. Remember to get closer to your job as well. Someone asked opportunities for seniors around campus. Career Hub, the university does post jobs for students, and often you must be a senior student, anything from second year upwards. At Secure the Grad, we've got quite a number of students working for us. At A-Step, we've got quite a number of students working for us. So make sure that you read your student emails. I think if there's anything that the panelists highlighted. Read, read, read. The habits you learn at university. So if you don't read your emails at university, let me tell you, you're going to sit with a chock-a-block email mailbox at work. Our last poll is coming up as we wrap up our webinar. Let's hear from our team what they have for you. If we have not answered your question, don't worry, reach out to us on our social media platforms. We want to know from you, which of these do you need the most support with right now? Figuring out what you want to do, finding a job or an internship, networking and connections, and last but not least, do you need help with confidence and motivation? We're here to help you. You will also find the recording on YouTube in 2 weeks' time. So please hang 10, but we'll also find it on Blackboard if you look under the Senior Student Experience. So please make sure that you submit and click. Ladies and gents, it's been an absolute pleasure having you. To our hosts, from me, your hosts, I just want to say thank you to our guest speakers. They are sitting with full diaries, as you heard, scandals to uncover, research papers to write, businesses to support, as well as international trade deals to broker. And I know their time has been invaluable. Please follow them on their social medias. Follow us on IG, and you will we'll make sure that you get in contact with the current speakers. Follow GPS. That's our graduate. These are success coaches that have been trained to support you on your journey to success. If you get a phone call from them, please don't miss. That is to make sure that we reach out to you. We make sure you don't drop out, and we also get you to graduation in minimum time. If those are our success coaches, the number that will call you is 051-4019-111. If that number reaches out, please make sure you answer. And if you want to get in contact with them, you can also WhatsApp them on 087-240-6370. Alternatively, that is the email. We'll also put it on our chats, as well as Advising for Success on IG. Remember, if you need academic advising support on any of our University of the Free State campuses, those are the email addresses: Bloemfontein campus, advising at ufs.ac.za. If you're on the Kwakwa campus, advising QQ at ufs.ac.za. And if you're a student studying on our South campus, advising SC at ufs.ac.za. You can set your appointment. Also, remember, you can WhatsApp them on 087-240-6370 to set an appointment. Alternatively, if you need support with your academics, A-Step is right there for you. We've got tutorials across all 3 of the University of the Free State campuses. And thank you to our 19,000 students that have attended at least one tutorial in last semester and made sure that they ace their exams. Ladies and gents, if you did not catch any of this, or you want to listen again, remember to follow us on IG. This has been recorded, and we also want to know whether this webinar was a hit, a miss, or whether we can do better. You can even suggest some speakers. We want to say congratulations to our winners. Then these are our 5 winners: Kifilwe, Ketiwe, Mulaudzi, Vutomi, and Lutricia. Please make sure that you send us an email, securethegrad@ufs.ac.za, and just say webinar winner as your title. What we want to ask from you in your email: give us your name, your surname, your student number, as well as contact details. Where can we get a hold of you so that we can communicate to you in terms of the price you can come and collect? And as I said, we'd like to hear from you. So please do scan the QR code. That's our feedback form. And for those of you who complete the feedback form, you will also be eligible to be chosen and exclusively selected for our networking lunch/networking dinner with some industry experts, as well as our academics and some of the exciting people that we'll be inviting from industries. From my side, as well as our technical team, including our speakers, thank you for joining. See you at our next webinar.